So this is the reference we're going to be using today. I found this on Pinterest, so thank you to the photographer. Right now I'm starting off with the basic shapes and just trying to get the proportions and placement right. This step is pretty important since if you move on to the color and want to change proportions then, it's going to be a lot harder than when you just had the sketch to work with. One trick to fix proportion is to actually use the Liquify tool to move around your lines instead of erasing the whole thing and doing it all over again. So right now you can see that I have my reference on the left side of my drawing when I'm moving on to the color. I'm just putting down the blocks of color roughly to add details later on, but I actually didn't add much details to the background since I wanted the viewer's eyes to focus on the faces where the details are instead of putting detail everywhere and feeling overwhelmed by the piece. Drawing fur or hair, it's not necessary to draw every single strand and make sure that each strand has its own highlights and shadows. Instead, it's more important to focus on the bigger picture and to figure out how we can put down blocks of color to make it look like fur overall. One brush I really like using for hair is Nikko Rull. I'm not sure if I pronounced it right, because it has a really nice texture to it, and it's also the brush I'm using throughout most of the video. You can see that the piece doesn't really look alive right now, but once I put on the highlights and the shadows of the eye, it suddenly looks like you could poke those juicy eyeballs of it. So pudgy. Again, I'm roughly placing on the highlights and shadows to communicate that there is the shape, but not focusing too much on the details. You can see this clearly on the hand. Hopefully you can tell it's a hand, but I just placed down colors to make it look like a hand, and then I moved on without focusing too much on what isn't the main focus. Alright, so the absolute worst part of this piece, I hated it, drawing water droplets. It's so hard to make them look realistic, and I could have said I died during that process. Anyways, I'm basically putting down the base color for the highlights and filling in skin tone. But after all that torture, I've concluded that whenever you see water droplets on a reference, don't draw it. Just don't draw it. No. Save yourself, please. fixing up some of the flowers and birds to make it look less animated. Right now, I'm trying to work out what light source will be suitable for this piece, so sorry for it looking like my painting's having a seizure, but in the end, I chose a vignette, I think that's how you say it, and here's the finished piece. Thank you for watching, hopefully you learned something through this video, and yeah, see you in my next video, bye bye.